All right, so welcome. We're doing NCAA rules tonight. We're going to first go over a couple items. We're going to give Vernon a minute or two here just to explain some of the items that are available again in the Google Drive, which is where all our training materials are. So I'll hand the floor over to John Vernon.
Okay, in the in-season folder, you're going to find lots and lots and lots of stuff. So I'll just take you through it very quickly. So the slow whistle second flag down, that's for NFHS. It's buried in the rule book as a situation, but it's on one sheet there for you. The next one is the no shot clock prep school rule modifications. And that's for all varsity games, prep school games that don't use an 80-60 shot clock, and all the sub-varsity prep school games because they don't use a shot clock. And there are modifications on that, 4 of them, to the NCAA rules. So everything else use the NCAA rule book with those 4 modifications. The next item down is the rules differences. That's the 5 pages of all the major differences that I was able to come up with. There's a lot of stuff there. Some of it you're not really going to encounter very often, but it's worth going through all of it. And you can highlight the stuff that's, that you don't have memorized or think you will use during the season and that you want to go over. I think that was it. Anything else there? The NCAA rule book is down there. Oh, I did do one item up a couple more from there. Items eliminated from the NCAA versus NFHS rules differences. There were a few items that are now the same under both sets, so I put that in a separate file.
Awesome. Thank you. I'm going to bring the PowerPoint back here. All right, so for tonight, again, we're going to go over the points of emphasis and any differences in some of the rule book items, mainly concerning the NCAA differences. Again, shot versus no shot clock, as John had mentioned, for prep schools who are not able to have a shot clock on their field. We're going to go over what you are to do. This is year 2 of that. We didn't hear anything different. So again, round of applause on everybody. Everybody seemed to, from the ADs down to coaches to the officials, everything worked really well with our rules modifications, and the Western Board also had adopted them as well. Once we get through this, there's not too many slides similar to last year, and less than the NFHS the other night, and then we're going to get into the rules exam. So with that said, again, our theme is you're on video. So remember, it's the same for if you're doing a prep school game, you're doing a youth game, you're doing a high school game, regardless of what level. Video is everywhere. People have video on their phones. People have video up in the sky. As you don't realize there's cameras everywhere at this point, all the way to in the press box or on the sideline in multiple different areas. Again, watching video helps you learn. It is a tremendous tool to go back. If you do not have access yourself for some reason or want to gain access, or simply we've had many members over the past few years say, hey, I just want to see this game. We can record it a lot of the times because John and I have the back end access to a lot of these schools. We'll throw it in the drive for you. You can watch it and then we get rid of it. And so again, if you want to see something, just tell us. We're super happy. The same thing we ask coaches, specifically SEC coaches and a couple other coaches from around the state. We ask them to send us or tell us when things happened, and especially if we have access to their huddle or other places, tell us, hey, it was third quarter, 7 minutes in, there was a weird foul call. And it's not to embarrass officials, but that is how we can go look at it, figure out what happened, and bring it back to you so we can all learn from it. The other great thing video does is it gives you a different perspective. You can see it from the fans. You can see it from the bench side. You can see it from what your partner's looking at sometimes. And a lot of times you'll just see that things are different and things look weird and people on the field are doing something different than what's actually going on in your brain. And remember, with this theme, you can slow down. That has been the top thing I think I've told every person that I've worked with or any of the new officials or any times that we've been out on any trainings or things like that so far of just slow down. I find myself reminding me of that a lot too, of again, it's not a massive amount of time, but sometimes 2 or 3 seconds in your cadence, or to say loose, push, white. That was all of 2 seconds more, but it gets your brain to slow down so we can get it right and we can do the correct mechanic. And if we don't do something right, we can fix it and we can change it. So we'll start tonight. Again, not a ton of items to go over. We're going to go through a handful of things, but we're going to start with a video. It's about a minute long. I'm going to replay the foul happens in the beginning half, and then we can have a group discussion, or you can think on your own on, again, the part about being on video and slowing it down and getting it right and using a correct mechanic, because we didn't get it right in this video and we kind of gave mixed signals, but then we fixed it and we took our time to make sure it was good. So again, I'm going to show it. I'm going to replay 2 or 3 times the foul. So that's going to be about 10 seconds. Then we'll play the longer bit on this.
Hey, Rob, before you get going, the fact of you're on video or picture, if you go back to that Loomis game where I'm in the background.
Why do you think I put that in there, Mr. Nunn?
Well, I just have to say I did that game with Dr. Hinchy and Ted Murphy, and I think they were both out of position, so that's why they're not in the background. And I was in the proper position to make the call. So we always have to remember we're either getting our picture taken or we're getting videotaped.
You were trail.
Ouch. Ouch. Flag down.
I'll tell one quick joke. The great Lou Sochi from the Westerboard always says, be in the right position to make the wrong call. And that's always stuck with me for the last 15 plus years. It's always a good one. Excellent. I wanted to feature you up there first for sure. All right. So again, we're not going to hide what's going on. There's a play on the crease. White is on defense. Green is going towards or on offense. And you're going to see a defender and a attackman on this side of the cage. You can notice the shot clock as well. We'll show it one more time here. So we have a lot going on, right? We have a shot towards goal. We have a player who almost hits the net, fortunately doesn't hit the goalie. We have some contact here. We talk about perception, right? White is at home. White, this is a massive game for them. We're in the fourth quarter, 7 minutes. In this game, there's about 200 people here as well. You can't see them. But again, they are vocal, right? They want their team not to be disadvantaged at any point in this game. This is a very tight game, right? In the perception, the coaches are nowhere down here, nor should they be, right? But they are going to have a different angle from what the camera is going to show. They're going to be very close to what the trail is seeing. The trail has got a lot of inside things. And within the game, we had a lot of issues inside that blender and calls that had to be made. So now that leaves us with essentially everybody watching this play. We have lead having to watch a shot, and we have single having to watch things on crease. And the problem that we have immediately is they're both happening at the same time. So we have to split our vision sometimes, use our peripherals. Can we watch the crease play and the ball go at the same time? And the answer is you kind of have to, even though you can't watch 2 things at once. And so we'll kind of replay it from this and we'll see what happens. Then you see us get together and talk about it. And again, the perception that occurs, right, is, whoop, my apologies. I have double going on my controls here. And so the first thing we do is we wave off the goal. Both of us come in. I have a play on. I'm lead here. And then we do kind of cross signals, right? The infamous Seattle Seahawks, Green Bay Packers game, right? One official going up, one of them going no. We kind of cross signals a little bit. And so he saw a play on, thinking it might have been a crease. I saw that white player, and I'll show it one more time on this, and I'll try to stop it right when it happens. I see that white player extended. I felt green would have stopped at that point and wouldn't have landed where they landed without that push. And what's also unique, the ball is loose over the cage. So even though it's a crease play, we do in fact can have a loose ball push. So very odd to that point. Normally we'd have a flag on a crease dive play, right? So partner official might be thinking, if you don't have a flag, it's got to be a crease. It's one or the other. This is already weird. A lot of stuff going on. So we have the shot that goes over. We have a player in the crease. What also doesn't help, the rebound goes right to Green, and Green scores a goal. And we have a player in the crease. So we have a shot that missed, a push, a crease violation, a rebound, a goal. And we're only supposed to watch one thing, right? That's a lot going on at once. So you see us wave it off. You see us give a little bit of a mixed signal. My apologies again. We'll kind of speed it up. We talk about it, and we realize that we can have a loose ball push. And that's why we didn't have a flag. And because I was there, I'll give you the inside scoop on it was, hey, I'm going to have everybody look at you. You have to sell it. That was the last thing that was told me. You have to sell it. You have to be big. And again, I didn't know this, but video tells a better story. Watch the partner. Again, I go slow, loose, push, green ball. We both point in unison. Thank God he did it on video. But it looks really clean, right? It looks like we're on the same page. It looks nice. I didn't see him do that. I couldn't compliment him until I got to watch it afterwards. But now it's the perception of, even though you heard a parent going, "You're doing everything to ruin this game," was the actual line in this video. Everybody gets it. And even to this point, we make sure, I'll spend one extra bit here. There you go, you're giving the game away. Our trail has got to make sure he communicates it to the bench. We had a wrong signal, so we felt we wanted to make sure that everybody had time to sub because they had already been on the field. We bring them back. That's not an ideal situation, but it is what it is. Let's get it right. Let's take our time. And as we do that, we also want everybody to make sure they're in the right spot. And we get points all around. We had the shot clock back to the correct thing. Everything was good. And again, a minute and 10 seconds of our lives, right, that could have gone really bad if we don't get it right. That goes on. Because again, the ball's in the back of the net. We have a lot of things going on. Very tough to see. But I felt, John and I were kind of watching this and we said, hey, again, all of the great things that go in that we don't even realize until you watch it back on video. In my brain was like, oh my goodness, that kid got pushed. How did my partner not get the push? How did he not throw a flag? He had to throw a flag. Do I need to throw a flag? Where's the ball? And then I'm like, wait, it's loose. And then you get to talk about it and everybody's going to watch it and you just take the extra second and you saw how slow the cadence was on the loose and the push and the green. And that's just for me to get it right and to slow down because we got to bring everybody back and we got to bring everybody to the right spot. And we can do that in a fast manner and get it going without having to panic and without having to second guess ourselves because you got a chance to say, hey, this is weird. I don't like it. And again, having that courage, John and I talk about this a lot, of going to your partner or going to a senior member on your crew and saying, I don't think you had the right call. I think I had a better view of it and I think I have it, right? And you still get to talk about it. But again, having that courage to say, hey, you pointed crease. I don't agree with that. I don't think it's that, right? And then you get to talk about it and you get to do what's right and kind of go through the sequence and hear what your partner says. We'll open it up briefly on any comments on the video and the idea of the theme and the perception that goes on. Feel free.
Rob, Steve, question, were there any subs that were occurring while you two were discussing in order to give them appropriate time to reset? Because I think the impression everybody would have is that it was going the other way.
Correct. Everybody's gone. Look at the two of us. We're all by ourselves. The poor goalie. The goalie's got to listen to us, right? We had everybody subbed. and the same thing. Coach isn't happy, and we gave in the same thing, and that was kind of the last thing you kind of saw in the cadence. We kind of pointed. White coach had asked. I kind of gave one more. I gave a push and then a 60. We made sure the shot clock was right, and then we did make sure that everybody was on 246, 246, and then we pointed. And we were good. To your point, you get the 20 because that's an incorrect signal on the official. So we give them time. Both coaches had indicated verbally they were good and ready to go. But very good point.
Good job.
Rob, my observation is that watching this from this view with the camera, the single side official stays out a little bit too far when the ball is on your side of the field instead of coming a little bit closer. It would have made easier for him to see maybe some of the things that happened, but he was pretty far away at this point.
And I think that's always a good point, right? Where are you comfortable is always what we start with, right? I think we can all agree wherever you're comfortable is where you need to be. But to the other point, can we get in? And we see after runs right in. Awesome job. Right? Comes in. We're okay here. We have a signal. To that point, right? It's tough because sometimes in our brain on the field, we think we're in a great spot, right? Then we go rewatch it and we're like, we're far. And usually me, I'm too close, right? And so it's figuring out, engaging to Mr. Murphy's point on learning where you actually are. And it's the same thing when you were a player of when a coach says something to you and you're like, he can't be right. There's no way I did it that way. And then you watch it and you're like, I was 10 yards away from where I thought I was. So to that point, right, it becomes that great learning tool of exactly, can we get closer in that scenario? Can we not get complacent? Can we get a little further away if we need to? All of those things help when we watch, right? Because then we have that visual aid. Awesome, awesome point. Anything else?
Rob, I got a question. When he was coming in, was he making eye contact with you before he made the call?
Yes, and he saw my hand, and to that point, what he had said, he goes, you have to have a flag if it's a push. And I said, I think it's a loose ball. I didn't even say I know it's a loose ball. I go, I think it's a loose ball because it went over the net, because that becomes your third and fourth item still in your brain, right? You're like, I have a push into the crease. It's definitely no goal. And he's like, why didn't you have a flag? And I was like, because it was loose, right? And I do that intentional pause because your brain remembers point number 4, right? Like there's that much going on in that play to that point of all those things. And 9 times out of 10, you can give each other that little look and point down or kind of give that head nod down. You go, yeah, it's a crease. And then one person does it. In this scenario, and I'll just kind of rewind it, I think when I ran in here, I have my hand, it's really tough to see, but my hand's up. It's really tough to see with that van. My hand's up for a play on, for the push, not the crease, right? He blows it, thinking that he's got the same thing. We blew it almost instantaneously because of that crease violation. And again, then we have the foul on the defense and then a foul on the offense, even though the offensive foul is not time serving. We have 2 fouls, so that offensive kills that play on instantaneously, right? And then it's tough. How do you communicate that very quickly through nonverbals? And the answer is you get it 99 times. This is the one time we didn't. You see the other 10 calls we had on the crease and we never had a mixed signal. But again, in the spirit of, we like to show you the things that are not routine because those are the things that help us learn the most, right? Parker, did you have anything?
It's back before you got to the foul when you're coming across. And I'm watching the clock. All right. And so my question is, when it went to 60 below, no, I didn't see the 2 of you in the front relaying a signal. Was it given or do?
I don't have an arm. You're correct. Look at that. See?
Let me jump in on
Yep.
that a little bit, Rob, because sometimes in a pregame, I will tell the other guys in the crew, at least one of us has to say, under,
Mm-hmm.
And I'm hopefully we don't see him, but we hope that the trail official, who had a great view of the clock, did that. Whereas the two of you are watching the play right around the crease. And to Parker's point, if I'm one of the guys watching the play around the crease, I probably am not going to point under at 60. But hopefully my trail official will be doing that for all of us.
And right? Both are great points on that one. I know I watched a lot of it. I promise you I did 60. That's not me just saying I did it. I promise you the other ones are a bit, right? But to that point, like we watch it, and that was one that we probably should have had it, right? And you can't just rely on the trail sometimes or hearing that verbal. So really good, right? And that's why we watch. We can pick up all those times. And even when we watch, that might be something we're trying to work on and something that video can tell us where we want to count how many times we missed the under, right? And if it's 50, that's not good. If we missed it twice, all right, not bad, right? Super good. Awesome. Good, thank you. Awesome all around. So I just felt like something different to show you than just kind of continually giving you the same stuff, but seeing something where it was super weird, communication, we didn't get it perfect, but we didn't get it wrong, if that makes sense. We made it right. We made sure by the end of it was right, didn't have a massive impact on the time of the game. So flipping this, Stripey's now going to college. So for any of you now watching his adventures, and I know Al, your comment of we're going to have to make sure that we work on his training as well, so that way when he gets to college he's all good. But essentially the big point of emphasis this year on the NCAA is bench decorum. Again, what I want you to hear is remind, especially at the prep level. Just continue to remind people. It's not I gotcha. It's not throw 50 flags. It's not kick people out. It's not find things that aren't there. It's remind them. Because again, I said this in the clinic, and I really do mean this. We did such an excellent job. All the videos we watched, the table area was cleaned up last year, and I can't thank you enough. That was my pet peeve and my crusade to just clean that up, and we did it in flying colors, right? So you can do things without going to penalties, but it takes a lot of effort. So same thing here. We want to remind, if the coaches creep on the field, remind them to get back. And I know, again, I said this in the clinic, the words please and thank you go so far in this scenario. Coach, please just come with me a little bit. Coach, I'm just going to bump you, please. Hey, thanks, coach. I appreciate it. And going by and just saying it that way, especially if you get a three-man opportunity, it gives you a chance to say something in a positive manner. So that way, when you get into a not positive manner, you have some ammo in the closet, right? And you can go and say, coach, we're good here. We're not arguing. We're good, right? Use the ladder if you need to on anything. The same thing. Where the first time you remind them, say please. Maybe the first time you remind them, you say both teams. Even if it's Green who's way in the sub box and there's only one white player, hey, Green, you got to move out. I'm going to get White on the way back. And then get White on the way back. White, move out. Even if it's one kid, move out. So then everybody hears the same message. And then go, hey, to the box coach, to the assistant coach, to the head coach, hey, I need your help here, right? And it's not necessarily the conduct ladder, but working through it. Hey, coach, this is now the third time I'm asking you for some help. I need you to help me here, right? And then kind of go, hey, before that face-off, get everybody back. Make a point of it. Move everybody back. We're not starting the face-off until we get out of it. This is it. This is your mornings, coaches. Here we go. And then we go from there. And by the fourth or fifth time, if it's not corrected, that's a different story. And you get where I'm getting at. But by the fourth or fifth time, it usually cleans up. We don't want coaches on the field. And what we mean by the wing line. If they go on the wing line, we want a flag every time. If they get out that far, if they run through the table area and get to the far pylon, flag them. Start with conducts, work up from there. On timeouts, we want them on the field in NCAA. It is tough to hear it. Again, as we say with timeouts, a lot of coaches, and there's a million stories. We could spend 3 hours telling all the stories of things we've heard, but it's side out, an assistant. It's just things that don't make sense, right? So remind the coaches, if you can in the pregame, or sometimes in the second half, it's even better. At the beginning of halftime, if you can just go over real quick. Hey, coach, again, if you need a timeout, you can come out and get me, be loud, give me a visual. You can also get the trail. Remember, the trail is there. Another official always says the lead should be working. The trail is not working as much. He should be paying to that timeout, right? Or paying attention to that timeout. So little things like that, but remind them, because it helps us more than it helps the actual coach, right? But we've all seen the coach who chases after that lead and he's yelling timeout, timeout, and his arms are like stuck to his side. And you're like, I have no idea what that is. Is that a timeout or not, right? But the coach who comes out and turns and makes, as we just said to the Dave who asked, who makes eye contact with that trail and says, white timeout, white timeout. There is no question what he wants. We can check for the possession of the ball real quick, and he's under 30. We give him the timeout. The other point of emphasis, this was last year, it came out with a video, no violence in the celebrations. What they don't want is any type of gun celebrations, nothing violent in nature, and I'm not going to elaborate further than that. But if we see that, we flag that immediately. We can start with a conduct, we can start with an unsportsmanlike, depending on you feel the subjectivity on the offense level. But they want nothing violent, and again, they don't want to take celebrations out, but they want them contained to the players on the field. The bench can do whatever they want. If they want to do the bench press and the treadmill and all that stuff, as long as they're inside the team area, great, do all that. We don't care. But the celebration contained to the on the field players. Whoa, I'm just going to mute you, Parker. Right? And so contained to themselves, they can look at their bench, they can point to their bench, they don't point to anybody else, they don't do anything to the crowd, they don't do anything over to the other team, if that makes sense. Again, start with taking the ball away for the face-off and work your way up. Again, the team areas is another point of emphasis. As we said, we cleaned that up really well, but same as NFHS, that new back pylon, we want the teams back 6 yards, and we want them back 10 full yards on the sideline. So 6 yards from the sideline, 10 yards away from the midline. The other point of emphasis that has come up a lot is the 10-man ride. It is really difficult to watch for offsides, but again, who's probably got the best chance to catch some of it, believe it or not, is sometimes the lead. The lead is kind of already set up. We've gotten the habit as crews. You can ask the coaches what their calls are for 10-man rides. They'll tell you. Don't go tell the other team, but they'll tell you, right, what it is. And a lot of times that helps. I know it helps me. If I'm not a crew chief, I've asked every crew chief to ask that question. Because just hearing the word chaos or falcon, or it's always a bird, eagle or raptor or whatever, it's always birds, right? Whatever it is, you can hear it and your brain can go, okay, we're in a 10-man, right? And getting a little help because there's 50 people screaming it. So understanding that, and again, what occurs is it's those midfielders who are trying to go back and forth the midline, they usually get caught, where the players who are supposed to be balancing one another out are not balancing one another. So we'll put out a video with it. We'll try to get some clips of it. If we can take a look, the problem is, to be honest with you, there's not a lot of good video, is as you just saw in that camera, it doesn't give you the full field, the one we just watched. It kind of gives you box to box. So we can't see everything that kind of goes on. But again, that's kind of the big thing that's occurring, and you're seeing it creep down to high school. Minor items, things you've heard already, but just to be aware of, the helmets coming off, we want to make sure we get.
Rob, can I comment on the 10-man ride?
Yeah, go ahead.
A couple of times in the past couple of years, University of Bridgeport had a 10-man ride on a dead ball, off a dead ball situation. Their goalie was nowhere near the cage. And 2 weeks in a row, whoever I was working with, yelled to the coach, "You need a goalie on the field." The goalie was on the field. He just was nowhere near the cage. So make sure you know where your goalie is if a team comes out in a 10-man ride. And if you don't see him, don't yell out, "Where's your goalie?" because you give up whatever crazy cockamamie scheme that this coach was trying to prevent or do whatever. Right? So make sure you don't yell that out.
Rob, additional comment about that. I've seen it 3 times this year down in the South. Goalkeeper going to the attack half of the field.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so yeah, when they're coming out of a timeout, you got to be doing your counts right away, know where they are. You can't be delaying the game, which then puts that team, again, as Kevin said, at a disadvantage. and then ruins what they probably took the time out for. But make sure, because they could possibly be on the attack side of the field, which is legal.
Correct. And the last point on this is this is where good crew communication really comes in. We had one the other day, same thing, where it was team down by a few, and the same thing, we just happened to be walking kind of closer to the sideline, and we heard the assistant coach talking about it, that there was going to be 3 pulls on the ball, and that got our ears up, and we said, hey, let's make sure we figure out where the goalie is, to your point, but it's crew communication. And then all of a sudden you saw, hey Rob, and you just saw kind of like a dead ball, I'm trying to, like the fist straight out, and it was the point where the goalie was without using a finger. Right? And it was just a point towards that goalie who was on the attack half, to your exact points. And it was a super good, yes, it was verbal, but you get my point. It was a nonverbal way of the crew understanding that the goalie was on the field. We noticed where they were, and we weren't going to give up that advantage to that team. Again, it's not a secret, right? But we just don't want to give it out ourselves, if that makes sense. Awesome on those.
That was my point, Rob. Thank you.
Yep. Nope, 100%, 100%. Again, remember, helmets coming off. We have immediate whistles unless a shot is in flight. Again, that player is going off. We're going to go over that. Delay a game. Just be mindful to see when they occur, right? Or, again, a lot of the times on those shot clocks, they still have to have a second before they launch it. If it's a second and they launch it, cool. But if it's 1-0 horn launch, we have a delay game. So just be mindful of that, and be mindful of when we don't have a shot clock. They're going to be different for our prep schools, and we're going to go through that. So keeping it moving right to the not shot clock games. Again, there's 4 rules. The beautiful thing is this is the same thing we did last year, and everybody seemed to do it perfectly. Awesome on everyone. Super good. Remind your crews. Remind yourselves in the game. Remind the coaches. You have to say this in the pregame for those games of the prep schools that don't have a shot clock. Remember, this is what we're doing. We're using the NFHS count, a 20 and a 10. It's 20 on a beeper. It's 10 on a hand count. What your crew decides, I'm fine with. I personally don't like having to do everything as a single. There's a lot to do. There is. I like doing it high school way. Trail gets to 20 with the beeper and the goalie, and the lead gets the 10 count. But if your crew decides to have single side, that's fine. You can change that mechanic. Whatever works for your crew and works. Again, because we essentially have no goal mounts, we can't have a crease dive. So there is no diving, no jumping, no inadvertent diving into the crease. Face-offs, we are going with the NFHS. Remember, it's the same exact face-off. The only difference is that in NFHS, there is no additional penalty on a violation. So if somebody jumps early, they get to take the next face-off. In NCAA, they have to sit out one face-off. They can go to the wing or play defense or offense, but they can't take the next face-off. So again, we took that out. There's no penalty for them. And then again, if there happens to be a stall, there's no automatic stall like in NFHS, but if you feel they are really deliberately not going to cage, we're going to do a get it in, keep it in. Because again, we're under that NFHS counting system. So it's same as high school. So all 4 of those bring it back to the high school instead of being an NCAA. And it makes sense why we do that, because we don't have those counting mechanisms. We don't have the goal mouth, and we just felt the face-off. Again, it was better to make sure that players, because, again, they're generally the lower levels. We want people at those levels, they don't have a lot of reserves on some of those teams. We want the same person being able to play the game and getting extra reps without having to go really deep in their bench, which is usually very, very short to begin with. And sometimes they don't even have a real face-off guy. So all those things. So those are the 4. As we said, that PDF is on the Google Drive if you need it. Just these couple slides from last year, we thought they were really good reminders. Remember, we want teams where the green X is. We do not want them on the pink X, especially in a 3-man. You don't have to do it every time, but every once in a while, take a look over. If you haven't been over in a while, give it to the next face-off. But as that bench side official, the wing official, on the 3-man, come over the midline, clear people out. I come all the way over. I say it calmly. I try to say it low. I don't scream at them, but hey, players out, players out. It's a really good change of term. Don't say everybody out or clear the box. Just say players out. Coach, help me. Players out of the box. It's 4 words, but it's super descriptive. Coach, help. Players out. Right? It's simple and it really gets. Thank you, Scott. Did I get to? I think I got the 6. I'm bad at math. You know that. But again, it gets the point across. Simple. Players out. So that way the coach, I'm supposed to stand here. Just players out. Players out. Players out. Right? And they turn around and will help. Can we have a person on the Orange X? The answer is yes. That person should be serving a penalty. We put this on purpose because we don't want the player serving the penalty up on the sideline. We don't want them crunched right in the area where you're going to be subbing. Move them back to the table. You can be nice about it. Just because they committed a class 5 felony on the field and you had to throw 2 flags on them doesn't mean they're a bad person yet, right? Hey, number 7, I just need you to scoot back a little bit, please, right? Be calm with it. Do it before you even report sometimes. Get them back. You can also do it after if they're really hot-headed. Don't go at them if they're hot-headed. Take a second, move them. It's also really good mechanic. We talked about this the other night in a different training where essentially if you're going to report, again, clear them out there. I make it part of my cadence. If the box is really messy or if there's a coach in front of me, hey, players, you need to go out. Coaches, you need to help me. What's the penalty? I need to get the boxes clear, and then everybody will understand when I report the penalty. You need to help me, please. And all of a sudden they go, oh, right? And then they help you. And then you can go, we have a time-serving foul on White, 17, / 1 minute, shot clock to 60 seconds. Easy, and you're out of there. You cleaned up the boxes, you reported your foul, and you get out of there. All easy peasy. If you continue to do it over and over again and make it part of your cadence and make it part of your routine. Helmets. There is a lot on this. We're not going through all of it. It is the same rule as last year on helmets. It's now effectively the same rule in high school outside of this dead ball thing that occurs in high school. In college, we don't have a dead ball helmet. We can chase the kid if we want, but we are not giving it technical if it's a dead ball. Again, helmet comes off. It's an immediate whistle. It's an immediate whistle unless that ball is in flight. And you get to make the determination where if you don't think that ball came out yet, blow your whistle. That's what you should err on the side of. If the ball is, I've only seen it once, the ball is clearly sailing and that player, because of an illegal hit, got hit very late, the ball is soaring almost in the net, and then they hit the ground, and then the helmet rolls off, that's very clear and obvious. That ball was sailing and gone before that hit occurred, and we threw that flag because of that late hit. Remember, they go off every time. No matter what occurs, they go off, and they're gone. In this scenario, when that helmet comes off, it's a technical foul on the offense. It's either going to be the team who didn't have possession, it's either a loose ball and it's the team that's helmet that didn't come off, or it can become that flag if it's that defensive player in a live ball. What changes all this is if the defense, just to make this easy, the defense hits the offense and any type of foul causes that, regardless if it's a loose ball, if it's a technical type of foul, which a loose ball is, or a personal foul, A still goes off, B serves time, potentially if it's a loose ball, a little bit different, you get where I'm going here, and then A gets to keep the ball in that regular restart position of wherever we would have restarted it. Could include a clear, could include moving it outside into the alleyways. We reset the clock because we have a time-serving foul. We also had a technical foul. We reset the clock if we change possessions to 80 every single time. In that scenario, don't be so quick to restart. We have to get that kid off. Think of it, it's not a full 20, but think of it as a 20, where if we need to get that kid to pick up his helmet and go off the field, don't be in a quick rush to restart it. Give him time to get off. It doesn't, just like the video we watched, that wasn't a full 20, but the idea is if they need more time, we're going to give it to them. But if we can get it done in 6 seconds versus 20, it saves us 14 seconds, and we're good. Again, before the shot is released, if we know it, that helmet comes off, we kill it. And the other part of this too, in prep school, a little bit different than college, right? Think safety. If you feel this is off, blow your whistle. We're never going to comment on you. That's fine. College has a very strict light switch approach. It's either on or off, and there's no in between. That is very tough when we're dealing with high school age players. If you feel that person is continuing to play because of that penalty, so let's say on this bottom picture, I know it's pro, lifts the helmet and the helmet is up above his eyes and he still has the ball, you know he's going to get whacked again. I'm fine with you killing it and saying, nope, coach, that helmet is deemed off, he goes off. We're good. Err on the side of safety is what we're telling you. Quickly, within crease plays, again, this is shot clock only. Again, if they dive and land in the crease area, I still don't have better pictures. This is the best we're dealing with here. But again, not the smiley face or the goal mouth. So this is the mouth, this little semicircle, the mouth up here. The crease is the remaining area. If they land entirely in the crease, not including that line, that's the goal mouth, and the ball is in before they touch, we have a good goal. In every circumstance, they're allowed to dive. They can land anywhere in that crease as long as the ball goes in first and then the touch happens second. If they touch the goal mouth, generally speaking, we never have a goal. I'm going to walk that back. Welcome to lacrosse rules. I'm going to tell you never on purpose, and then I'm going to give you a caveat, right? The time you can have them land in the goal mouth is if it is because of the defensive foul, not defensive contact, because they could have legal contact and land in the goal mouth. That's too bad on the offense. If it's illegal contact, a technical or a personal, and they land in the goal mouth, we can still have a good goal if the ball crossed first. We don't want to take the goal away. What you saw happening, this is from now many years ago, is the defense would just crush the attackman, even if they were going to score, and say they got right in the goal mouth, too bad, it can't be a goal. So they are no longer rewarding the defense for just taking heads. So again, if there's that contact and as we deem it illegal, we throw a flag and they touch the goal mouth, as long as it doesn't go in, it goes in the net before they touch that line, we're good to go. We can have multiple penalties. We can take the offense. If the offense dives under their own volition, let's say there's no contact, and nails that goalie, we're taking that attackman. We're starting at 1, we're going up from there. We can have both. We could have that attackman going straight towards it, and that defenseman also nail him at the same time, and we take out the goalie. What we want you to hear on this is try to look for a differential, if you can. Was one worse than the other? Figure out subjectively which one was worse. Give 1 2, give 1 1. It makes your life a lot easier going forward. It also then doesn't just penalize everybody equally and nobody learns from it of this was really, really not a good choice, attackman. You started it, you ended it, not good. The attackman's also guilty for adding on to it. That could be a clear message. Or attackman, you had a really bad idea, but that defenseman made it way worse by cross-checking you in the face. We can go with that. And those are simplified explanations we can give everybody and go from there.
And that's why you need to know the simultaneous foul rule as well.
Just creeps on in every time.
One other last point on
You're
the
good.
last slide that you skimmed just a little bit. The next to last one, bullet point. If it's a really, really late hit, the guy shoots, scores, and then
correct.
the guy creams him and knocks him into the goal mouth, the rule says it's a multi-minute non-releasable penalty. So you're starting at 2 non-releasable for that. They do not want people blowing up the attackman well after the play.
And remember, by default, if that ball's in the net and that hit happens after the ball's in the net, it's a dead ball. So it's that triple whammy, right? It's a goal scored, that player serves, and either way, they get the ball back, no face-off, right? Because of that dead ball foul. So it's multi-minute. We want it locked in, even on sportsmanlike conduct in that scenario. and they're getting the ball back. So it becomes that triple whammy. So they really want to take that out if they're really taking liberties well after the ball's in that net. Very brief reminders, just because it's a little different. I felt we did a very good job. But again, you're going to come out for the coin toss. Again, follow the lead of your R. I like going to the right side as the R because that's my face-off position. And I like everybody walking less steps. If you know me, I try to save 5 steps if I can. That's my life motto. So I like being on the right side. Other people are football officials and they like facing the scoreboard. Totally cool. Other people just like facing left because they like facing left. That's cool. But the R stands on one side, the umpire and field judge stand on the other. The umpire gets the home team because they're number 2 in command. The field judge is number 3 and therefore gets the visitors. They walk out. The visitors, just like in high school, face out from the benches. Home team faces their benches. And then you do the normal coin toss and everything else. Same goes on where we do the lineup. Umpire and field judge on the same side. As you see this switch, I don't like the double crossover. So I like being on the right side, whatever works for your crew. Just follow your R. Your R is going to have a preference and you go by that. Nice and simple. Again, just a very simple graphic. We used this last year, but we got a lot of comments on it that people like seeing it. But again, that field coverage when we're settled, as we see lead would like to be goal line or under. A lot of times you can come up. I find myself putting 1 foot on the goal line and making a 45. So instead of being straight on the goal line, being able to be turned a little bit, right, at 45. It gives you a better angle of what's going on, especially if the play is behind and it's not deep behind, but it's just behind, or if a defenseman's hung up. Can give you better angles. Also on man up a lot of the times. They have a set offense with not a lot of movement behind. Gives you a better view as versus just being straight line down to the pipe. You can open it up a little bit. Figure out what works for you. Get outside your comfort zone. Try some things. Single should generally be 5 yards up. We usually look for around that kind of 15-yard line if it's a football field marking. If not, 5 yards up. As we discussed and Mr. Murphy brought up, find out where you're comfortable. Some of you will start out. If you can come in a little bit, knowing the same thing, to the other side we were higher in the shot clock in our video, might be a time you don't want to go in. But if there's 10 seconds left in the shot clock, might want to creep in a little bit. Same as trail. It's the same as high school. We want to find that spot. Make sure you catch the pylons, as we call it, as you're coming up. Again, the general rule of thumb is trail should come in under 60 most times. Just under 60. We're not talking 35 seconds, but essentially if you watch the clear, you come up to a pylon, you watch the substitutions, you get to the next pylon, you come in, you're right around about 55 seconds. Sometimes a little under, sometimes a little over. But give yourself the chance to stay behind the subs, because then you can watch the subs and you can watch the play. Be good. If you run way up and it's a quick turnover, now you're running through subs. So the same thing on that trail. When the shot clock is down, start backing up. You don't have to turn around, but start backpedaling a little bit. Same thing as you said with midline. We want to make sure if that ball comes up, trail has got that midline responsibility. Single needs to help them. Lead should come out a little bit and help with that sideline if need be, especially if that trail gets caught. And then the same thing where if it's really down deep, the lead should go with it. The single should migrate to that blue area, as we said, is either right on it or come up and actually kind of come a little bit inside, because if that's a quick pass, you can in effect call that goal if need be. A lot of times the lead can still get it, but we had a scenario the other night. It's again more rare, but it happens. We had same thing where it was 2-goal lead, end of the game. They start doubling the ball. The ball is in the corner, right? Lead is following that. There's 2 poles and a helpless attackman. Attackman decides to chuck it. Kid catches and scores. Lead is all the way by the pylon. Single can come in, blow the goal, and not wait for the lead to come up 15 seconds later as he's huffing and puffing. So just simple things. Lead's still responsible, but single can help in a lot of areas. The restarts, we did this again last year. Again, think of when we're in settled, lead is going to get anything below We, again, shade this box, talk to one another. If it's in that coffin corner, let the single have it. Lead can go back to the goal line. Same thing if it's in the middle here. Trail might want to take it. Lead might want to take it. Same thing, anything in that area, single might take. Again, discussions. It's not a hard and fast rule of where we go. Same thing with transitions. On that single side, I find myself going a little bit more. I like the trail taking more stuff because I like to focus on the midfield and start getting my counts. Other guys don't like that. So depending on the crew and depending on what we discuss, some guys like the entire sideline to be the single. That's fine. Ask what your crew wants so you know what's going on. Two guys have said that this year. Hey, I want you to take everything on the single. Okay, cool. I'm going to do that. And so again, get outside your comfort zone, figure out what your crew likes, figure out what's going to make the best coverage for the game work for everybody that's involved that day. And same thing here as we go, as you see, a different take on it, as we said, on the face-off, as the single is usually that person. They're going to have that. 9 times out of 10, single is going to re-blow in on a face-off violation. Trail should freeze the box. Lead should get down and freeze the box. In the event, if you say, hey, it's really close to you're right next to it, and I want to run down, and trail takes it, we're good with that. So again, as long as you communicate, as long as one person's going to where they should be, we're good with whatever mechanic you want to use. Make it work for your crew. I think this is the last one I got. Face-off reminders, again, the best thing is this is the same face-off. This is the same face-off as last year and even the year before. So there's not a ton going on. Again, we want a definitive pause at all levels between set and whistle. We have eliminated the swistle. There is no swistle. It doesn't have to be 3 seconds, but it needs to be a pause. Set with the T, tweet. Set, tweet, set, tweet. Whatever you want. Mix it up. Don't mix it up. Whatever you want. Again, 3 different guys are going to have 3 different mix-ups to begin with. Again, verbal adjustments. Try not to touch anybody. I know this is one of my mantras. Just don't touch anybody. Just verbal. And if you feel that you can't figure out how to get the face-off guys to adjust, talk to your crew. Find ways to use better terms and better language and better phrases. Again, I'm very neutral. I've learned this from a lot of guys. Even if white's leaning and green's pretty good, I'll say, fix the lean. And then all of a sudden you see both guys snap back to where they should be. Even if green was perfect, green's more perfect now, right? And so just being neutral gets you out a lot of stuff. It also gets you out of a coach hearing, why are you talking to my guy? Why are you talking to my guy? Why are you talking to my guy? Instead, you get in there. The other amazing mantra, for those of you taking notes, write this down. Pick one philosophy. Pick one. Don't correct 6 items. It's never going to be clean. It's never going to go well. Pick one thing. Next face-off, pick a second thing. If they're really egregious, you can get 2. But think of the whole face-off from down to whistle should be about 5 to 6 seconds. You don't have time to pick 5 items. You just can't. It's physically impossible. Pick one thing. Nothing's going to be perfect on the face-off. There's 12 items they need to think about. They're never going to get them all right. Get the one that you feel is most egregious in that face-off that is not going to make it as fair of a face-off can be. If they're all close enough, say set and get out of there. Again, we want them, this is a great view of this, we want the stick above the knee. They can be hunched over a little bit as long as the stick's above their knee, but we want them going down together. We don't want them touching their stick before they go down or touching the ground or anything else. They simply should go down together. Again, in the event you have a violation, just call the color. Don't call anything else. Early, blue. Early, blue. And you're pointing because it's blue ball. Get in the habit of stop saying 2 colors. Stop being wordy on it. All they want to know is what happened. It's a hold. Why? Because it's a hold. Explain it to them next time. Simple. 1 word, 2 words, color is all we need. Remind them all the time of everything they're doing. There's a great official who says, tell them before they go down and tell them in the pregame. My pregame for face-off guys are short. Listen, we're going to communicate all day. If I tell you something before the face-off, if I tell you something during the face-off, or if I tell you something after the face-off, you should be listening because I know I don't like something and it's going to be a problem. That's it. Sound good? If you don't like something I'm doing, tell me before the face-off. We're good. See you later. Easy peasy. Just communicate, overtell them, have some pacers. If that player does come off, or excuse me, violates, and again we say, hey, it was blue number 5, it was blue number 5, it was blue number 5, and they come off, try to chase them off if you can get them early. If you say down and you realize it's them, it's too bad. That's a violation. That's on the player, that's on the coach. It's too late at that point. In the event they realize it and you can chase them and they start running off the field or they run to the wing to switch, get a beeper on. Get a beeper on quickly. We should have a beeper on every single game. Get that beeper on because we can get to that delay, or we could do the old, hey coach, my beeper's been on the whole time. It's one of those buzzers that you can't hear, but I promise you it's whatever you need to do, give them the time. If it's egregious, slap the delay game, get it moving. Again, last thing on face-offs, be safe. Figure out where you're comfortable. I'm struggling a lot with that this year. I say that to try to help you as well. I'm trying to figure out where I need to go. I can't figure it out. Use the season, use your games, try different stuff, go in different spots. If you got to go in the midline, you got to exit out a different way. Find what works for you. You find it, you lose it, keep working on it, keep figuring out ways to be safe and to find places that you're going to be comfortable with. I think this is the end here again. Shot clock. I'm going to spend zero time in this.
Can I mention something about face-off?
Sure.
So I had an NCAA game on Saturday, and the guys came out for the preseason or the pregame meeting, and I'm looking at one team's cross. He's got 2 crosses in his hand, and I'm looking at it, and the referee goes through the whole spiel, and they all take off, and I say to the referee, I say, Can a face-off guy have their throwing strings wrapped around the plastic? All right. The kid had both face-off sticks or both sticks that he was using, and the shooting string was tied to the plastic, weaved through the mesh and tied to the other plastic. All right. Which is illegal, correct?
Not in the pregame. You have them fix it in the pregame.
Well,
I've never seen that in my life, to be honest with you.
We did, and I had never seen it either, and I had brought it up before the game actually started, and we had the kid correct it before the game started. So, again, I've faced off my entire life, and I've never ever seen that.
Never seen that
type of throwing string setup. So, just something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, you're always going to see the weird, as I say.
Another face-off question again?
Yep, go ahead.
Sorry. Could you comment or advise as far as violation and restart? I don't know. I'm looking at college games, and I'm seeing it's taking forever for a restart, and you're getting practically wholesale substitutions on. I mean, we're supposed to have it within 5 seconds. We should have a restart. Correct?
Yes. I would say, yeah, within 5. We are going a lot slower this year intentionally because we now have to signal away. And so the away has become part of our mechanic. That is one of those where, as we always say, there's certain spots that we go slower, not a quick restart, but a fast restart sometimes, if we can. It's anything in the bench area, any kind of over and back, and any face-off restart. We want to make sure that we get the number. We want to make sure we get the ball in the correct spot. I'm also seeing this year a lot of people leave the boxes early on both teams. So instead of getting them, we chase them back. To that other point, you're also waiting for the official who called it. Hey, it was a hold. It's away. It's white number 5. I need the ball here. That doesn't sound like a lot, but that's what I think is adding our 3 or 4 seconds.
I'm not even talking 3 or 4 seconds. It's like 6, 7, almost 8 seconds that's going on because it looks like they're it looks like they're waiting for someone to come from the substitution area to come out and pick up the ball, and that I don't think is appropriate.
Yeah, use your discretion. As we said, I would remind the crap out of it before I went to it, and again use a verbal. We used a verbal the other night, and then everybody got on the same page very quickly as soon as
No,
you
I
start
agree.
doing
You're doing a lot of verbal.
and the hand count. 80-60, again, this is old hat for us at this point. So just be reminded, or make sure you go through and talk as a crew of your 80s and 60s on this. Same thing on your play-ons. Keep them short. 1 Mississippi is the max your play-on should go. Remember, you can have play-ons and over and back. It happens more in prep school and college than anywhere else. Is that is still a technical foul. It can still be a play-on. If that attackman is all by themselves, it keeps your game moving a little bit. This is it, and then we're going to head over to the test, which is a lot shorter than the other night. But again, there are still major differences. John has the best sheet in the country. There's no denying that. Look at that sheet. They are generally listed on what happens the most frequently and what happens the least frequently. So concern yourself with page 1 and 2, and then you can move into the minutia. But again, the counts are different. The dive rule is different. The face-off violations are slightly different, just in the fact that NFHS can take the next one. Remember that timeouts are much more restrictive in the prep school game. They have to be over the restraining line. They can still take them on the end line and sidelines, but they cannot take them after a technical foul in the field of play. So a loose ball push awarded to Team White. Blue cannot take a timeout in that scenario. In high school, they can. The second flag, we keep it rolling in NCAA. There's still 2 different illegal cross penalties, one for a deep pocket and one for everything else, like ridiculous rawhide wrapped around a shaft. I would probably go through that. I've never seen that. And in high school, it's 2 only. There's no mercy rule. There's no stalling. There's no defenseless player. There's no eye shade rule. There's also major samesies. That is not a typo. There are things that are the same. This is different, but goalies don't get 5 seconds anywhere except the super teeny tiny kids now. And again, the helmets are effectively the same. Just that dead ball helmet coming off exists in high school. Try to figure out how to work through it, right? Remember those keys. These are great things to tell your crew before you get out. Regardless if you've done 35 NCAA ruled games in a row, you're going to have a partner who's just come from high school. Most of you on this call, if not every one of you, will have days or days within either the same day or days within the week where you're going to go from one rule book to a different rule book. So even yourself, these are good reminders. Hey, what's different? Where do I need to get my brain on? Questions before we go into the test? We'll open it up quickly.
No shot clock on the NCAA field. They still have to get past the restraining line for the timeout. Yes.
Yep.
Yes. Yep. Everything else is college rules, correct. Good question. Okay. Do we have one in the chat?
Yeah, there is one, Rob.
Yeah, that was me. It was just the shooting strings around the plastic. Is that just face-off heads or is that all field players?
Burning. I'm allowed to phone a friend. I get the best phone a friend in the world.
All right, fair enough.
He'll get you the answer to that.
I don't know.
I think it's all crosses, quite honestly.
I think it's all. It's similar.
I think it's all just like the tape rule.
You can't have plastic in NCAA. You can't have any. Excuse me. You can't have any tape on the plastic. Kevin, you are correct on that. We've seen that before. It's a 3-minuter on the plastic. It's all taped up. Remember, ask us questions throughout the year. Look at the Google Drive. Remember the differences. We're going to go through this test. Again, it is way shorter than the other one. We'll have same format. Don't shout out the answer. If one of you can read it and give us the answer. And we're also not going to get into the weeds, please. Sound good?
Want to turn off the recording?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.